It's just pretty disturbing. I'm just wondering if it's legit. Is this saying that like everybody who's not vaccinated is getting evicted?
Well, we have a grace period to which you can get your first dose, but essentially as of January 17th, it's a board mandate from our board.
So I just want to get this straight. So by the end of the month, my 4-year-old boy with leukemia is getting evicted because we don't have a vaccine?
Like, I'm reading comments that say, I'm ashamed to be a Canadian, like complete wickedness, and just on and on and on, just these powerful, this weeping of the community of like, how did it get this far? And for them to just be like, you can just see how their consciences are dead because when I was talking to the manager, it's like she's surprised that this is even happening. It's like, what's the big deal? Like, it's just another vaccine passport. It's just another thing. We've been doing this for a while. Haven't you gotten the memo?
This has gone too far. A young family with a 4-year-old who has leukemia is being evicted from the Ronald McDonald House behind me in Vancouver. You're going to want to watch this full report, and we're going to tell you 2 ways you can take a stand to help this family and the ones they represent. Drea Humphrey here with Rebel News, and yesterday a family reached out to me to tell me how they're being treated by the Ronald McDonald House behind me. If you're not familiar with Ronald McDonald House, it does great work. This is a 74-bed location where kids who are struggling and trying to survive with things like cancer and need treatment for that can come and live with their families. This cuts back on the expenses and on the overall stress of going back and forth. The family who you will see interviewed here would have to drive 4 hours at least to get treatment if something like this wasn't there for them. Now here's where things go wrong. The dehumanization we're seeing of people who are not yet vaccinated for a vaccine that has 0 long-term studies, and the CEO of Pfizer, who is also a friend to the Ronald McDonald House thanks to their large donation there, just said provides little, if any, protection if you have 2 or more.
And we know that the 2 doses of the vaccine offer very limited protection, if any. The 3 doses with a booster, they offer reasonable protection against hospitalization and deaths. Against deaths, I think very good. And less protection against infection.
The policy, which came out on January 10th here, says that anybody who is not vaccinated will not be able to enter their building to visit a loved one. And if they are a family member who's unvaccinated, whether or not it's a child 5 years or older or the adults, they will not be able to stay here. We're going to get the full story from the family. We're also going to hear from one of the donors, the church that came behind this family to make sure they could stay here. We're going to ask you to do 2 things. Actually, you can take a few seconds to do it now. Open up another screen or another device and go to letthemstay.ca. We've created a very important petition where it's going to be addressed to the board members who came up with this inhumane policy. And it's also going to give you an option where you can send an email directly to the CEO of Ronald McDonald House Canada. Part of the reason that I'm here in this great free nation is because good people refused to do nothing and didn't let evil prevail. My family, much of them, came here through the Underground Railroad to the promised land of freedom. And I will not sit back and let groups of individuals who simply made a medical choice they believe is best be marginalized and dehumanized to the point that they are no longer welcome to be helped by an organization like Ronald McDonald House, who helps children with cancer. If this becomes the new norm, I do not want to know what's next. So if you're a good man or woman watching this report, do something. Go to letthemstay.ca, fill out the petition, sign the email, and share it with as many people as you can. Here's their story. All right, Austin, Lindsay, and Jack, the man of the hour, and we got little Lewis over here. Wow, that video you put up on Facebook has really tugged on the hearts of many people. you reminded me that our paths crossed earlier when you asked for prayer about Jack and his situation. So for people who are not familiar with Jack's story, why don't you tell us what brought you here to having to stay here?
Yeah, so our family, we rented out a log cabin out at D Lake in Lake Country. We're from Kelowna, and one day Jack's just like, carry me daddy, and I thought he must have like hurt his leg on a tree branch or something, and tripped and sprained his ankle. So we treated him for a sprained ankle for the first 2 weeks, but he started to get lethargic and he wouldn't play with kids and it wasn't getting better. And one day he had this depressed look in his eye I never seen. So me and Lindsay are like, okay, we got to take him to the hospital. His foot's probably broken or something. X-rays came back not broken, went back to the hospital, and then we got a call later that night saying, yeah, your son has leukemia, you got to come down here right now. And then basically they got an ambulance, put him in a stretcher, and flew him out here.
Wow. And so, every parent's nightmare, really. And then how did you end up coming here? My understanding is that some friends, as well as your church, who, by the way, we will be speaking with your pastor in this report as well, came together. And then why did you need the services of Ronald McDonald House? Yeah,
so the reason you need Ronald McDonald House here is one, it's... You want to talk into it? You can say hi. But yeah, so the reason it's so necessary is because you have to go there all the time. Like, Lindsay, how often do you have to go there, would you say?
3 times a week? Three times? About 2 or 3 times a week.
Okay. Yeah, and you guys are from Kelowna. For those of you who don't know, that's at least 4 hours away, right? So.
Yeah, and with the snow and the roads getting all smashed up, it was brutal driving back and forth and stuff. So, yeah, being here, having a place this close like this is so necessary too, because I'm going to be working here, and if I have to go to a job and she has to come here the same day and we got one vehicle, it's like, how is that going to work? You know what I mean? So having a place close like this where she can just walk over is so important, because she needs to come here all the time.
And so how long have you been here, and how long were you supposed to stay while Jack was getting treatment?
Yeah, so we've been here since October. Okay, Jack, you're gonna get down. Jack's getting down. Do you want to sit in the chair? Okay.
You okay?
Yeah, so we've been here since October, and so however long that's been, 3 months. And so it's estimated, if it's good news coming up, that everything's going good, we'd be here till June. So this is a long time. Like, some people come in here and they've got like problems like you can't believe, but they're in and out in like a month or 2 months. And and they're just like, this is so crazy and all this stuff. And I tell them, I've been gonna be here for 8 months, their jaw just drops. But that's a long time. Like, we moved in here, I changed my mailing address here, I changed it on my driver's license. Like, this was our home. And we loved being here. When I got here, like, I took a video on my phone and put it on Facebook, and I was going down the slide in the foyer there, and I'm like, this place is so amazing. The staff's been so great, doing arts and crafts. We're getting involved culturally, doing the things they do, like decorating your door for the holidays or whatever. Like, this was like a family and a home to us. Like, we don't hate anybody here. I don't know where this law came from. I don't know how many of the staff supported or what, but I think it's pretty obvious that people are outraged about, how evil it is that they're evicting a 4-year-old kid with leukemia over a vaccine with 3 weeks notice. And I think it's a story that's really just impacted a lot of people, no matter what your beliefs are, because everybody cares about sick kids. Mm-hmm. Like, everybody donates to this place and to the hospital. It doesn't matter what your beliefs are or what country you're from or whatever. Everybody wants sick kids to live. And so I think there's been so much outrage around that. I think there's outrage because it's not just a vaccine mandate for adults, it's a vaccine mandate for kids. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of people here and people, who are like, I got the vaccine, but I don't want to give it to my kids. So it hits a broad spectrum of people, and we're getting evicted. But in the future, like, any unvaccinated kid is not going to be allowed to come here anymore.
Well, and also it's restricting loved ones. So even if one of you were vaccinated and the other wasn't, that means Dad can't come visit the kid if you stay here. Now, it looks as though the decision came down from the board, the clip we played with the manager saying so.
Well, we have a grace period to which you can get your first dose, but essentially as of January 17th, it's a board mandate.
I guess that's how they came to this decision. But I saw an article just before I met you just now from City News where it appears as though Ronald McDonald House is sort of backpedaling a little bit. I'll read a little bit of this article now. The article brings up that a video of a father confronting staff regarding the new policy was posted to Facebook on Tuesday, and they only mention that in it, the man claims his child was being evicted due to the COVID cult. Ronald McDonald House says it's trying to understand each family's situation, and they now say that their family service team here would work closely with a team of social workers at the hospital to find alternate accommodation for a family that would meet their needs for the duration of their stay in Vancouver. So basically they're saying, no, that's not exactly what happened. We didn't say you guys are going to be kicked out to the curb. We said that we're going to accommodate you. We're going to find a place for you to stay. Is that true?
Yeah, that's definitely not true, because you just got a letter slammed on your door. They even had the audacity to write Dear Ronald McDonald House Family as the address. And I was in disbelief when I got it. My wife was crying that night, and I was up all night just having this internal dialogue. Because God put it on my heart, like, you got to go say something to these people and you got to expose it. You know, the Bible says everything done in the darkness will be brought to the light. And they didn't give any warning of this. I went down and I'm like, is this real life? Like, are you guys actually doing this? And she authenticated the letter. Like, everybody who comes here, as far as I don't know if it's just people with leukemia or what, but you get given a social worker. And we had to reach out to the social worker ourselves and say, what are we going to do? They didn't say, oh, we're going to set you up at the hotel while you're figuring out what to do. They didn't say, oh, they didn't give you a game plan or anything. They're just saying, we're going to set up a room, we're going to set up a QR code, and you're going to scan it. And if you don't scan that QR code, you're gone. That's how it is.
Right. So just to be clear, you were not told you'd be accommodated until you went out and reached out to, the social worker.
Yeah, and it's not even guaranteed accommodation, and there's no guarantee that the other location wouldn't do the same thing. The only other location that's like a free thing similar to this community living is a place called Easter Seals. And there's no, like my social worker said, I'm going to reach out to you, I'll probably get back to you tomorrow. Like, she hasn't gotten back to me yet. Like, you don't know if you're going to get a spot, and you don't know if they're going to just do this too, because this seems to be a trending thing across the country where they're just putting their hands around the throat of every unvaccinated person and just squeezing until they obey.
Well, I did reach out to Ronald McDonald House BC and Yukon to get their side of the story and to ask why they felt they needed to take such extreme measures against families in need instead of more dignifying ones like regular testing and temperature checks. I never got a response for them, but I also wonder, since Vancouver City News published their new watered-down attempt to correct their black and white policy and then only quoted a minuscule portion of the very important things you said in that viral video, did City News ever reach out to you to get your side of the story on what Ronald McDonald House is now saying? I wonder, since City TV published this, did they reach out to you for your side of the story?
No, they didn't.
All right, so we're going to throw to your pastor. Your church has come behind you to help you guys afford this services. Here is what Pastor Archer Lucier from Harvest Church had to say.
Well, I'm Pastor Art Lucy from Kelowna Harvest Church, the home church for Austin and Lindsay and baby Jack, their family. We're not only their home church, but we're their support base, and we've raised thousands of dollars to be able to support them while they're in Vancouver and stay at the Ronald McDonald House while baby Jack has treatments. I did see a very disturbing letter tonight given to Austin, Lindsay, and Jack from the Ronald McDonald House. I am just beyond shocked that the Ronald McDonald House would do this policy, would actually do this, and actually tell them, though, that they need treatment till June, that they're being kicked out this month with nowhere to go. And I do want to say for Ronald McDonald House, everyone, they helped our family 25 years ago. My sons were born at 2 pounds, 12 weeks early, and they had to stay there in the hospital in Vancouver for 2 months, and we got to stay at Ronald McDonald House. We're forever grateful. But for now, for them to pull a policy where a family chooses not to take the vaccine, where their son is sick and it looks after sick families, but they're being told they have to be evicted and they can't stay because they're choosing their own convictions not to take this vaccine. I am shocked. I am beyond disgusted where this is all going. I cannot believe that Ronald McDonald House, the management has taken this stand. We're not good with this. Austin Lindsay, we're going to help you guys, whatever it takes. But there's no words. I'm disgusted, but we'll make it through this too.
To the best of your knowledge, are there anybody else in your situation or close to it inside of here?
Yes, there is, for sure. Even at first, I knew people who were really outraged about just all the vaccine passports and everything, and we had some close relationships, but people come in and out. There's people who stay for a long time. But I talked to Castanet in Kelowna earlier, and they were saying there's a family here who, a lot of people, they're vaccinated, but they don't want to vaccinate their kids. So there's people who are vaccinated, or they have relatives who can't come, or siblings who can't come visit their sick other siblings who are here, and they don't want to vaccinate their kids. We had people coming up in the lobby saying, we saw your video, we're proud of you. I'm vaccinated, but I just don't want to vaccinate my kid. So I feel like this affects a wide group of people because of that, right?
What would you like to say to the board members of Ronald McDonald House about your situation?
Yeah, well, what I would say is that for you to do something like this, it just shows that your conscience must be dead. Because anybody with a living conscience can clearly see that evicting sick kids is an absolutely evil thing. I'm reading comments that say, I'm ashamed to be a Canadian, complete wickedness, and just on and on and on, just these powerful, this weeping of the community of how did it get this far? And for them to just be you can just see how their consciences are dead because when I was talking to the manager, it's she's surprised that this is even happening. It's what's the big deal? It's just another vaccine passport. It's just another thing. We've been doing this for a while. Haven't you gotten the memo? And you can see, I believe God gives everybody a conscience to discern what's right and wrong on a basic level. And when you're able to do something like this, it just shows that part of your spirit has been broken.
Well, if any of that resonates with you, please take a minute of your time and go to letthemstay.ca. Fill out the petition there, and after you do so, you'll be prompted to a quick email to the Ronald McDonald House CEO. And then please take a stand, share that with as many people as possible. Ronald McDonald House is not a bad organization, and everybody can correct their wrongs. That's what we hope to see be done here.
Yeah. Absolutely, 100%. We believe that everybody here just wants to help the kids. That's why people took this job. There's great people here and everything. And, the board decided this. A lot of people here don't agree with it. A lot of people here are scared about it. And I just hope they reverse it because you're just going to keep getting phone calls and losing donations until you do. Because if your heart's not going to change it, let that change it. Because I've been reading comments nonstop saying they're not going to donate to you guys anymore.
Well, all kids deserve help, so hopefully donations keep coming in, but all kids deserve to be treated equally, whether or not their family members have decided to take a COVID-19 vaccination. Drea Humphrey for Rebel News.
We just want to remind everybody to go to letthemstay.ca to get this to stop happening to us and to people in the future. And just something to add too. While we're all brokenhearted about all this, I just want to remind us of something that can unify us and just remember what it means to be Canadian. The national anthem says, God, keep our land glorious and free. And I just want to just remember God in this time. When we're seeing our nation being torn apart and divided, that maybe we could just have a moment to remember the God of our fathers, the God of Canada, and just turn our lives back to Him so our land can be glorious and free again. God bless you guys. Have a good day.
Using COVID-19 as an excuse to toss sick children and their families aside is unacceptable. Go to letthemstay.ca so this slippery slope stops immediately.